Hello there everybody and welcome to another video on my channel. That's right, I've actually managed to upload more than one video this year. Sweet, am I right? This week I want to talk to you guys about something near and dear to my heart, the engineer in Team Fortress 2. That's right, I'm going to go for a little bit of a TF2 tangent on this channel right now because I've been playing a lot of Team Fortress 2 recently. Now, out of all the classes in the game, the engineer has something that is quite unique and interesting. He has a weapon slot that has no replacements available for it. The engineer's PDA has only two possible slot combinations for it, either a regular PDA, the stock, or a strange version of that same weapon. This means that a vital part of the engineer's loadout has been left completely untouched by alternate strategies or any other kind of balancing effects by Valve. I think this is either a major oversight on Valve's part, or they simply just don't want to give balancing a new PDA a shot. However, I'm not Valve, I'm not a developer, but I am somebody who's played a lot of Engineer and wants to see the engineer get something there. So, why not talk about 3 PDA ideas that I've had that Valve could possibly integrate? Just so you guys know, I'm not saying that this stuff is absolutely necessary right now, Valve, and if you don't give it to me exactly as I demanded, I'm going to rage quit. These are more like suggestions and ideas to get people talking about these kinds of things. After all, the PDA is so woefully ignored that most people even forget that it's a slot for the engineer. So, without further ado, let's get this train started on the road, shall we? Oh, that was a horrible metaphor. Another forward, even though I just said let's get this train on the road. I want you guys to know that these are all kind of designed towards different playstyles. One of them is to create a new sort of weird playstyle, and the other two are to sort of help out with already existing playstyles. I'm making these more to be alternatives for engineers who want a little more to work with in their playstyle, as the engineer really only has one loadout for an assault engineer, and a bunch of loadouts that all work basically the same way after you've built everything for defensive engineer. So for my first PDA idea, I have something I like to call the Overclocker. The stats are as follows. It would double the base build speed of any and all engineer buildings. It would cut the building cost in half, and it would cut the upgrade cost in half. But it would also reduce the max metal down to 125 metal, and make the engineer take 35% more damage. So this PDA would be designed in an assault engineer sort of idea. It would allow the engineer to build everything he needs to support the team and fire back at the enemies who are advancing quickly. But it would also make maintaining these things much more difficult, as the engineer takes way more damage, so can't really show his face that much, and the max metal decrease means that he's going to have to rely a lot more on a dispenser or metal pickups. I was toying around with the idea of forcing this to reduce the amount of metal you get from your dispenser or metal pickups, but I felt like that was overbalancing a little too much. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, though. My second PDA idea I call the return trip. It would allow the teleporters to work in either direction, much like the upgrade in Man vs. Machine. However, it would also give a minus 25% teleporter recharge rate at level 2 and a minus 50% recharge rate at level 3. But each teleporter would increase its cost by 25 metal. Now, I know what your guys are probably thinking at that. Faster recharge on the teleporter and it can go both ways? That's really OP, and it only costs 25 metal extra per? I'm sold. Let me get this. But let me explain. A negative that would be built into this weapon without actually having to build the negative into the weapon is the fact that spies can use the teleporter of the enemy. This means that with your magical two-way teleporter, a spy could very easily come to your teleporter exit on the front line and ride it back to your base, meaning you would have to be much more vigilant as to who is using your teleporter on your end. I think this build would emphasize a more supportive engineer, but not in the way we're used to seeing. It would allow the engineer and the players on his team to teleport back to their spawns if that's where the engineer had put the entrance, and allow them to access their metal and health lockers in the spawn. This would allow everybody full ammo and full health almost instantly at a really fast teleportation rate. However, it also opens up your base to much harder to fight spies, as they can now just sneak right past the engineer at the front line, teleport back, and get all the backstabs as nobody's paying attention. Also, the minus 25% teleporter recharge and minus 50% recharge rate, if I didn't mention this already, is simply to be there in case people are going both directions, so you don't have to wait as long for people who are trying to go in either direction. And last, but certainly not least, I have a little PDA I like to call the Guardian. This is the PDA that made me start thinking about engineer PDAs in general. While reading about Valve's attempted repair node building, I thought, wow, they really didn't try that much, did they? See, the way I see it, they could have made the repair node work in a multitude of ways, and here's one. The Guardian would allow engineers to build the repair node in a 5th slot on their construction PDA, instead of taking up a building as Valve had originally planned. Repair nodes will do as they sound, repair buildings in a radius around them, but they will do so at the cost of metal in a reserve. The reserve will hold up to 500 metal that is to be filled by an engineer, but can be filled slower at a continual rate by a nearby dispenser. The repair node would cost 150 metal and would take a total of 10 seconds to build without the engineer getting involved. While the repair node is repairing a building, all other forms of repair, be it through the rescue ranger or a wrench, would go down 90%, meaning they would be practically useless. And this PDA takes away 50 max metal, giving the engineer a total of 150 metal to use. I think this would allow engineers to go a lot farther from their nests without being too worried that everything was going to get destroyed. I think if the repair node worked in a sort of crit heals situation where the longer it's been since it took damage, the more repairing it does, would allow engineer nests to be more difficult to bust with a repair node there, but not so difficult that a demo man or soldier couldn't handle it on their own. I feel like having the repair node there in that sort of way would allow the engineer to run away and out of their spawn to help out the team in other ways. Say they have a sentry gun and a teleporter exit nearby each other, drop a repair node there, and run up to a bit closer to the front line so that they can drop a dispenser for the team, without worrying that a wayward demo man, soldier, or spy is going to run by their stuff and start destroying it. It will at least give the engineer and relax. Or, if a teammate or sentry gun kills the attacker, the engineer may not even have to worry about going back and repairing their stuff. The automatic repair node would just handle that for them. I think that Valve had a good idea with the repair node, but I think they didn't handle it well without thinking about the fact that they could add it as a PDA. Not all engineers would be using this. There would still be engineers using the default PDA or other PDAs that they might introduce later on, or with a big update to engineer. That means that this wouldn't be available to every engineer you see, just a subset that wanted to use it for their playstyle. Again, I'm not saying all these PDAs are perfectly balanced and should be added right now, but they are a pretty good starting point to talk about the ways that we could add engineer playstyles through his unused slot. Just think about how much more fun it would be to play as or against an engineer that has a repair node, or who can build buildings at twice the speed but that have half the health, or many other things that this could do. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'd like you to hit that like button underneath the video, as it really does help me out, and then, if you haven't already, hit that little red rectangle that says subscribe. It'll let you know when I upload more videos, which, as I said before, is every Friday. Once you've done those two little things, maybe you can share the video around so that all your TF2 playing friends and maybe Gaben himself can see these, and then make me the king of engineer PDA design. I don't know. It could happen. Anyway, thanks for watching, and of course, have a wonderful day. It can be a little difficult to get the flog up to its full meter without spamming or camping. However, the 10% damage reduction being removed makes this weapon overpowered as hell. It's almost a straight upgrade to the flamethrower.
Oh, there's another hunter.
The furry hunter? Oh no, it's Rafiki! The jockey!
It's Rafiki.
I've never even seen that movie.